Dear listeners, in a woman's life, there is perhaps no greater pain than being mercilessly humiliated by her own husband, the man she shares her life with, in front of the entire world. And that humiliation is multiplied 1,000 times when it happens in the middle of a lavish housewarming party. Under the authoritarian and complicit gaze of my mother-in-law, in the instant that 2 brutal slaps made my mouth bleed, my entire world seemed to crumble. But it was in that precise moment of maximum humiliation that I silently took out my phone to make a call they all considered the ravings of a madwoman, but they didn't know it was a call from destiny, the call that would turn their housewarming party into the funeral of their fictitious wealth. Moments before, the dazzling crystal chandelier, valued at over $50,000, radiated an opulent golden light that reflected off radiant faces, designer dresses, and glasses of bubbling champagne. Melodious music mingled with laughter and lively conversation, creating an atmosphere of prosperity and distinction. This was the housewarming party for my husband's family estate, an event held in a sprawling $10 million mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut, an area known as the playground of New York's elite. I kept to myself in a discreet corner near the buffet area. I was still wearing the simple cream-colored crepe dress I had worn countless times. I felt completely out of place, like a dissonant note in this symphony of luxury. I am Chloe, the wife of Ethan, the eldest son of this family, but in the eyes of everyone here, I am just a small-town daughter-in-law, an orphan from a humble background who got lucky enough to marry up by catching the eye of a wealthy young man. "Chloe, what are you doing just standing there? Go serve wine to the CEO right now." My mother-in-law, Madeline's voice rang in my ear, harsh and commanding. She swept past me, draped in a red velvet gown with a brilliant pearl necklace at her throat. She looked incredibly elegant, but the look she gave me did not hide her contempt. I nodded hastily. I picked up a bottle of expensive reserve wine and tried to walk as gracefully as possible on heels I was not used to. My heart beat a little faster. I am not made for these noisy parties or these complex social relationships. I approached the VIP table where my father-in-law, Walter, was entertaining an important guest. "Excuse me, sir, would you care for some more wine?" I leaned in, trying to fill the CEO's glass with the brightest smile I could feign, but perhaps because of the attention, my hand trembled slightly. A few drops of the dark red wine spilled, staining the sleeve of the guest's impeccable white shirt. "Oh dear," the man exclaimed, startled. The whole table fell silent. All eyes were fixed on me. "I am so terribly sorry, sir. I truly am." I panicked. I put the bottle down in a hurry and clumsily fumbled for a paper napkin to try to clean it for him. "But what on earth are you doing?" Walter's voice roared. My furious father-in-law. "You can't even pour a glass of wine properly. How useless." "Relax, Walter, it's not a big deal. It was just a small accident." The guest quickly intervened, showing magnanimity, although his eyes couldn't hide his irritation. Madeline, who had seen everything from afar, rushed over, her face contorted with fury. She didn't say a word to me. She simply shot a look at her son, Ethan, who was standing nearby, a look as sharp as a knife, an imperious gesture with her chin. It was a signal, a silent command. Ethan froze for an instant. A flicker of doubt crossed his face, but under his mother's pressing gaze, he approached me. He didn't say a word. To my disbelief and the stunned gaze of hundreds of guests, he raised his hand. Smack. A brutal slap left the mark of his 5 fingers on my left cheek. I staggered, my ears ringing. My mind went blank. I couldn't believe it. The husband I had always loved, the one who whispered sweet words to me every night, had just hit me. But the hell wasn't over. One slap isn't enough to teach her a lesson. She needs to be taught what respect is. Madeline's voice rang out again, cold and cruel. And then, like a soulless puppet, Ethan raised his hand again. Smack. Another slap, even harder than the last, on my other cheek. This time I couldn't stay on my feet. I fell to my knees on the cold marble floor. A metallic taste of blood spread through my mouth. The entire hall fell into a deathly silence. The music had stopped. Everyone was stunned. Some felt pity, others reveled in it, and some simply watched the spectacle with indifference. I was kneeling at the center of attention, of humiliation. My cheeks burned with pain, but that physical pain was nothing compared to the one tearing my heart apart. I raised my head and looked at them. Madeline stood with her arms crossed, an expression of pure satisfaction on her face. Walter had turned his head, feigning disinterest. And Ethan, he stood there, looking down at me with a coldness and distance that chilled me to the bone. For a moment, I didn't recognize him. All my patience, all my sacrifices over a year as a daughter-in-law suddenly became a farce. I had been wrong. Wrong to believe in love. Wrong to give up my true self to play the role of a poor girl from a small town. They thought I was weak, that I would only know how to cry and beg, but they were mistaken. The extreme pain and humiliation did not break me. On the contrary, they awakened my true self. A self that had been dormant for too long. Slowly, I got to my feet without anyone's help. I brought my hand to the corner of my mouth to wipe away the trace of blood with a gesture so calm it was terrifying. I stopped looking at them. Silently, I took my phone out of my small clutch. The party was again filled with murmurs. What did they think I was going to do? Call someone to complain? An orphan like me had no one to call. Hey, who are you calling? Your parents in heaven to come save you? A mocking voice was heard, followed by some laughter. I ignored it all. My fingers slid quickly across the screen, searching for a contact saved as Leo.